Howdy folks, welcome to 2022. Happy New Year. We're going to start this year off with a bang. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter. I've been asked to make shorter videos. So as you can see, we got a whole bunch of crap demonetized right there on the table. I'm going to be upgrading my primary system, which is a Z390 based system with an i9-12900K, to this Z690 system with a i9-12900K. So as you can see, motherboard Z690 Taichi by ASRock. Our Core i9-12900K, a Samsung 2TB NVMe drive. This will be replacing my PCIe Gen 3 PNY drive. So I'll be cloning my Windows 10 installation to here. And most rarest of all, non-scalped DDR5 memory. Had to try multiple times to get that without having to pay scalpers. And the Corsair screw adapter kit for my water cooler. So I have my primary system right here on the floor, and I'm going to go ahead and dust it out, and I'm going to get the old board out. So let me go ahead and get working on that. I also took this time to replace my Obsidian 750D, the front panel with the USB-C version. As you can see, this one, the original only has two USB 2. This one replaces one of the USB 2 with a USB 3 Type-C port. My camera can focus, a little dark on the side of the room. And so that is going to be a helpful upgrade. I get now, let's see if I can find this connection. My anti-static safe carpet, but here is the USB front header connector. So that's one upgrade that's still going to be done. Got most of the stuff uninstalled. Just have to, most of the internal components uninstalled. I just have to undo the cooler and then take out the motherboard and let's set up the new one. As you can see, we got our Z690 Taichi all set up and ready to go. I have the memory installed in the right two slots. This is DIMM A2 and B2 slots. Well, this is what they said according to the motherboard. I have our i9-12900K installed. A very tall CPU, much more rectangular than previous Intel CPUs. As you can see, it's much more rectangular than boxy, which is interesting. I have our NVMe drives installed. They're all under these heatsink combo armor things. So I have our 980 Pro in here. I'm hoping that this is using the 4 CPU lanes, so it's directly connected to the CPU. I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping both of these don't go through the PCH. I'm guessing this one probably goes to the PCH. I have two 1TB PCIe Gen 3 SSDs in here from my previous build. I'm going to be migrating them over. I'll probably replace this one in the future for PCIe Gen 4. This one, this slot only runs at PCIe Gen 3 with 2 lanes, so not the full 4 lanes, so that's a half speed. It wouldn't be too serious. I mean, you really don't care about throughput as much as you care about random, read writes. So the PCIe, the drives and the PCIe slots hooked up to the chipset are running through GMI 3.0, which is a PCIe Gen 4 by 8 lanes. So they increased the bandwidth. I believe it used to be it was a Gen 4 by 4 lane, so they doubled the bandwidth from the CPU to the PCH. And then we also have our Thunderbolt ports. So I don't know if those are coming off the PCH or if those are coming off the CPU. So that's a pretty good question. I also have the VRM heatsink installed, and as you see, this is a very nice motherboard. I'm going to go ahead, take out my Z390 Phantom Gaming 9, and get this installed. So it's been a little while. As you can tell, I needed to turn the flashlight on the camera, or my cell phone on, because it's been a few hours and it's starting to get dark, and I don't have the best lighting in my apartment. But here's the motherboard installed. The LGA 1700 adapter screws, and this older Corsair H100i, or H110i, I forget what it is, H110i, worked perfectly fine. I just set the bracket, this is the same bracket I was using on my Z390 board. I set the bracket to the LGA 1336 setting, which is just a little farther out, and installed that just fine. Put some thermal grizzly cryo nut, as a hydronaut, whichever one's not the liquid metal one, for the CPU. Hooked up our dual 8 pins. I got the motherboard installed, as you can see. I hooked up my the USB cable for the fan. I wish one of these fan headers, fan for the cooler, for RGB control and all that stuff. I wish this was moved a little bit over here. Has to kind of route it over around here. I have, then I'd route out all this over there. Got my Blu-ray and HD DVD drive hooked up. I still use them on occasion. Got my USB 3.0 card reader hooked up. I got a ton of USB devices. You see there's the USB 3 card reader, the front USB 3 ports, the USB Type-C port, the power supply, my H1000, my HX1000i, the interface for that is in what they call an independent USB port. I hope that just works like a normal USB port, and I use that little half port there for the Corsair cooler. Still waiting to install my GPU. I've been flipping the system upside down like a whole bunch of times, so I didn't want to put it in until I'm just going to put it upright. Hooked up my my SAS controller here, my host bus adapter. There's the Apollo Colossus. It used to be in this slot on the old board. I moved it down to this 1X slot. Here is a placeholder creative card. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to put in my old NVMe drive in a caddy here, boot off that, then clone that to the new SSD on the board. Then I'm going to remove this and install my Sound Blaster AE5 that I have in another system. I wasn't able to use it on my other computer because I did not have the PCIe slots for it. So that will go in that slot. And in the future, if I want to, I might just move my capture to a USB card and then just move the sound card here, and then I could put another PCIe Gen 4 SSD in there. Got all my cables hooked up, did a little bit more organizing. I still have to just, obviously hook up the GPU. I'm going to swap out these white cable ties or zip ties I use for black ones to match more of the aesthetic of the machine. And let me just show you the cable management on the back. I've been working on that for a while. And here's the back of the system. Got a lot of stuff running around, so try my best to neaten it up. You can see the host bus adapter, the SAS breakout cable, main power connector, 2 A pins, a whole bunch of USB stuff dotted around. So far it's not too bad for the amount of just like drives and other accessories I've plugged in there. So I'm gonna go ahead, basically seal up the system or install the GPU, seal up the system, and see if everything works. Okay, I got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is my test monitor is broken, or it's really shitting out. It's giving me all sorts of bad colors. Good news is that the system's working fine. I've hooked up to my TV here. So I'll probably make a part 2 of this video where I go over the system performance and details, but that's been the build so far. So we got a 12900K. We got our Z690 Taichi, 32 gigs of RAM, and our new SSD installed with all my other components from the build. I'm going to go ahead, clone the disk, and then put in my sound card and call it a day. It's been like 7 hours and I'm really tired right now. So like I said, I'll probably make a performance video later. Until then, I'll see you guys later.